On page 90, right? So I think, yeah, who's going to read that? Yeah.
Tradition relates how the nuns
or bhikshunis
order was founded after the path to the Buddha from Ananda on behalf of women wanting to take up the spiritual life. On that occasion, the Buddha explained his reluctance to ordain women not because he regarded them as incapable of attaining arahantship, but because their ordination would hasten the decline of the Dharma. This attitude has often been interpreted as betraying a negative view of women, although in part it might be read simply as reflecting a realistic view of what happens when men and women who have undertaken the celibate life live in close proximity. Nonetheless, the Buddha is represented as laying down 8 special rules, subordinating the nuns' order to that of the monks. However, it has been argued on the grounds of inconsistencies in the nuns' Vinaya that these 8 rules represent a later interpolation. Otherwise, the Pratimoksa Buddhist nuns is similar in broad outline to that of the monks, although in all recessions it comprises rather more rules.
All right, thank you. And then you want to read the next one?
The Buddhist canon contains a whole collection of verses, the Therigatha, attributed to female arahats, as well as numerous examples of accomplished female religious teachers. At the same time, while allowing that women may become arahats, a canonical tradition represents the Buddha as denying that it was possible that a woman could be a Buddha. The same passage also denies the possibility of a woman's being Mara. Of course, such an understanding assumes also the reality of rebirth. The status of Mara or Buddha is thus not denied finally to any being, since a being born as a woman or a Brahma who is strictly without sex in one life may be born as a man in another. Inscriptional evidence from the early centuries CE points to the active role of both Buddhist nuns and lay women.
All right, the next one.
At some point, the Theravada's orders of nun died out, perhaps as early as the 11th century in Sri Lanka, while the full nun's ordination lineage may never even have been established in Tibet. This means that fully ordinary Buddhist nuns are only found today within East Asian Buddhism. Nevertheless, in the Theravada and the Tibetan traditions, a significant number of women still effectively live as nuns by permanently keeping the 10 precepts of the novice nun, or the 8 precepts of the committed female lay discipline. Disciple. Some continue to be regarded as respective teachers of meditation. There is no movement to establish the Bhikkhuni's ordination lineage in the Theravada Buddhism. Although the attitude of some nuns toward this is ambivalent, since full ordination as a bhikkhuni brings with it the 8 special rules mentioned above.
All right, thank you. Something you notice that when they write the bhikkhuni, it's referred to the party. Then that you for sure it means the Theravada. When you say bhikshuni, is a Sanskrit word, so either it's referred to that like what he called the East Asia Buddhism. Okay, so that's why when you write, if you want to be more accurate, it's very clear when you. Some people want to mention earlier first, so I would generally use the Pali term bhikkhu or bhikkhu or bhikshu. Okay, but sometimes still when you write something, you need to refer that is strictly only talking about in that tradition, then you will use their language like bhikkhu. If you talk about Buddhism in Pali, but if you talk about Buddhism in like in China or in Tibet, sometimes you could say bhikshu. Okay. Okay. All right. Any comment and questions?
Yeah. What are the 8 rules?
I don't remember very well, but I know some rules that then the nun has to live close by, to the monk, because they must always get advice from the monk. And I'm sure you can check it from internet, but then and the other rule is that when there's a dispute, of course, then the monk has to settle down the dispute. So in other words, the dispute had to be agreed by the monk if there was dispute.
I have it.
Yeah, and the last one, which is the most controversial, okay, if you'd like to say, let me just say this, the most controversial is that which the people hate the most, according to the nun, nowadays some so-called some nun which, anyway, very activist nun, you could say, and it's the rule that even though how long you become a nun, but when you see a monk, just ordain the first day, and then you still need to prostrate to the monk. In other words, you still have to listen to the monk, okay, like that, yeah. And which they hate that the most of that. And other thing which I didn't say.
I think the
other thing.
What you mentioned maybe say nuns must never admonish a monk, but the monks may admonish a nun.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the one.
I feel like it was very deliberate that it was not covered here. And the ones above, I think they gave some examples. There was no examples. It was one sentence, period.
I mean,
so you need to look yourself.
No, but then of course this, even though it's not deliberate to not put it here because controversial, but at the same time, depends on people how they but this still like you, it still is a big discussion in the classroom always, you know, because people also who knows or who doesn't know always want to know the opinion, you know, what do you think about that? Actually, at the time when we were doing my research over there, we had one Taiwanese nun who doing her PhD on this issue, and according to her research, but she didn't publish. I guess many reasons. I mean, one reason I have the copy with me. I think the research is, even though she didn't believe, according to her research, that all 8 rules was actually really passed down during the Buddha's time. They kind of like, still, you know, the nuns try to prove that this kind of what we Garuda Dhamma, I mean the 8 heavy rules, actually was laid down, become a rules is later on the monk who formulated this kind of thing. But the story there's nobody would dispute about. Actually, there was monk first and the nun came later. But then, however, still her conclusion is that even though all these 8 not necessarily all were formed by that time, but he still believes some of them are the actually earliest ones. But I guess some nun we still deny to hear about that. Okay. That is one thing, yes.
What is Brahma? Who is strictly without sex? Like, is that a different type of being, or is that?
No, I mean, we have to look at the context. Where are you?
Brahma.
No, I don't know where we have mentioned Brahma.
Second paragraph on page 91, like really middle of the page.
Mara, Brahma?
Brahma, 3 lines below Mara. 2 lines below Mara.
因为它就是出禅天的天没有性别。
Yeah, because the Brahma is in the first jhana heaven.
So
they don't have, they are unique sex. They don't have male or male body.
So only males can become Buddhas.
Accordingly, yes, that's a controversial, and only male can be Mara, also.
Deny the possibility of a woman's being Mara.
So it's like the last life of the Arahat has to come back as a being that's like a sexual being.
Arahat doesn't come back.
No, like
I don't get it.
The life the person attains Arahathood, he has to go to a world. And
no, he doesn't go to world. He don't reborn.
No. Before he becomes.
No.
If
I know your question, but you get confused. Women and men can be Arahat.
Okay.
There's no question about that.
Right.
But your funny part is, I don't know why a lot of Chinese people still think that women cannot be arhat. No, you can be arhat. There's no question. It just cannot be a Buddha. Okay, women body.
So there will be no Buddha in the Brahma world.
No, then that the Brahma also cannot be a woman also. Not because a Brahma cannot be a woman. Maybe best to understand, the Brahma means a god, right? That god is born in the place there's no female and male body. Maybe best to say that way.
Unisex.
Yeah.
Right, but if you're unisex, you cannot become a Buddha.
I don't know.
That's
That-
what this is saying.
No, but according to the Buddhist tradition, it has to be, being a Buddha has to be descended from to see the heaven into a world of human beings, and to the practice. And then he become a Buddha.
But then he become a Buddha. Is he still a male, or
He's a male, of course. The Buddha have 32 marks. Yeah.
There are 32 marks of the great person. One
Yeah.
of which is his sexual genital.
Yeah.
A male sexual genital.
Mm.
It's included in the 32 marks of
Mm.
So strictly speaking, according
So
to this, there's no possibility of a Buddha being a
There's
I
no
thought maybe
Buddhist
Buddha is
teaching
without
then
sex.
up in the really
Does
high
it-
heavens.
a male.
The 32 marking,
'Cause-
was that a later?
No, the heavens is when someone become arhat in Buddha is beyond heavens, beyond the
Right, so
yeah.
So there- so there's no Buddhist teachings in the high heavens because there's no Buddha. Like Buddha has to become Buddha.
Maybe there is. I mean, there is, of course. But the thing is that even that, they don't take it seriously in the way, because I believe that when they are the heavens, like the non-sexual heaven, that the place like first jhana, second jhana, is generally believed that when those heaven, they know Buddhism and they know the Buddha is very powerful. They are just so happy they don't care that much. They might be philosophical to appreciate it, but they will not devote their life to practice that way, because they did not have enough time to understand suffering much. They know there's a suffering exists, but they don't have a really huge suffering make them to really have to be really thinking that I need to give up everything, like that. Okay. So that's the reason why this belief that saying that lots of monks in those days to practice supernatural power, they will go up to ask them. They ask them to come down there to ask the Buddha, because they are not the ones who are good at answering those questions. So, because their concern is different, yeah, and their life is so good. Okay. But I kind of buy that too. I don't say, even I'm sure that people are really very, very lucky life. I don't think they want to become a Buddha. They may admire the Buddha, wonderful, but I don't think they would think, okay, I want to be, really like devote wholeheartedly and understand the suffering and all sort of. No, I don't think they wanted that. They just want some merit for them, that they can have better life, right? Yeah. It's different, that's experience. Okay, any other questions? Otherwise, we will be end of today's class. No? How was it? How do you find that you learned something new? And anything that you have no question? So still some unsatisfactory over there? This is still okay?
In this country, how do you get started on going forth?
No, actually, Babaja means going forth.
Right, but in this country,
What do you mean by that? I didn't get it.
I'm an example. I'm here.
Why not? Some American, they become a monk too. What? I don't understand what's the question here.
how does one go about?
Definitely they have to be follow because the ordination has to be. That's the reason why I mentioned in the earlier page that the ordination must have the tongsa, you have the Babaja, you have the acharya, upasambhaya, you have the upachara. You must have the people who can bestow the Vinaya, and you must have the teacher who introduce you in the Vinaya.
Right.
Yeah.
But in this country, is that commonly done?
Yeah. In Thai temple and some other temple, they still have this kind of ceremony going on.
We can arrange a visit. So next time, if they have this kind of thing, so you guys can
I think if next time we may have people who become a monk, we will invite you guys to go to observe. Would you like to observe?
We can observe?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, of course.
It's a big ceremony.
We're a big ceremony. We'll let you know. Okay.
It's like a fiesta.
So, if a woman wants to become a nun under the Theravada tradition, it's not possible.
That's why I mentioned here, because it looks like that the nun tradition has died out already, probably from 11th century. And now then you don't have the nun who have the Upasampada, I mean a fully ordained nun, then how can that pass down there?
No, I think what should more specifically, you could not be a Theravada bhikkhuni, but you can still be a Theravada nun, or a nun. In this context, you observe 10 precepts or 8 precepts, and you still can live like a a nun.
Yeah.
You will be not as called
As a Upasampada, not bhikshuni.
not bhikkhuni.
You don't call them as a big,
So they don't
but
wear?
actually you don't even call them as samaneri also.
Yeah.
So if you say,
That's the reason why in Theravada you have this ordained person. They stay as they still as leave the family kind of like that. It's also Babaja, but the Babaja in a sense they are not as a bhikshuni or samaneri. They just take either some observe 10 precepts. In different countries have different names. Some they call, I forgot the name already, Meiki, some they call that, like in Tibetan called Ani, and then some they call it different name. But then you don't have a bhikshuni in Theravada or even in Tibetan, but you do have only in Chinese.
And they still live at home.
No, they live almost like nuns. They wear different color robes, like some tradition wear pink, some tradition wear white, some tradition wear like a monk actually, like Sri Lanka they wear like a monk. They wear a robe, but they don't have the full ordination like Upasampada.
And they stay in temples.
Yeah, they have their own temples.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why the Theravadan bhikkhunis died out? I mean, it's hard to imagine.
It's not hard to imagine. You have to look at the Theravada history, because those countries always, like in Sri Lanka, as one of the important, from the very beginning, Theravada, you could say start from Sri Lanka. So, and they always have a war, and the South Indian people always think Sri Lanka as their land. If you read this Mahabharata, it's Ramayana. So Ramayana is a very famous. Do you know that monkey story? Not the COG. Actually, another monkey story. Actually, that's why some people suspect the Indian monkey story was borrowed from them. So they have more than 3,000 year history of like an epic. The monkey who helped the king, the prince Rama, to get his wife back. His supposed to be wife back, Sita, because the wife was captured by the 10-head demon Mara, and the 10-head demon live in Sri Lanka. Okay. Yeah, and then so that's how. Anyway, because of that, the South Indian people always believe that Sri Lanka belongs to them. So in Sri Lanka history, every almost 100 years they have a war. Even now, recently, the tiger, right? You even know the tiger, they belong to the South Indian people. So whatever you talk about, this very complicated kind of issue, they have this kind of ethnical long history already. They have this war not only just recently, but they have 1,000 year history. So, and anyway, so that time when they depends on if from a Sri Lanka perspective, they say they invade, but from their perspective, they want to take back their country. So depends, okay. So and then they came down, and then of course they started to destroy many things. And that time, that's one of the reasons why you have these Buddhist texts been written down in the written form, historical record. Why? It's because the invasion also. So that's why they were worried that the monks will die out. So, and the other bigger invasion is also during the British colony. Actually, before that, there was a Portuguese colony. So they killed all the monks, and then they want that Christianity be there, and so forth. Anyway, yeah, and of course during that time, even Sri Lanka during 18 something, the monk what do you call this the Upasambhata, like this so-called ordination of the monk, is died out already. So the king of the Sri Lanka have to get this monk from Thailand. That's the reason why you have this Nikaya name called Siam Nikaya, Siam in Thailand, right? Sen or Siam. And then you have the other Nikaya from Burma called like Amarapura, Ramanya. These are because they die out. At that time, because when they have a turmoil in the country, the nuns die out already. And in those days, the travel is not easy. And when the Thailand die out, the nuns, we don't know the tradition. The ordination of the nuns, we don't know. Anyway, somehow you could say nobody care about it. You could say because of difficult and revival or whatever reason, or you could say because the priority of the monk first. But then when they want to have the nuns, the nun ordination revived, but then all the nuns die out. You could have many understanding. So we don't have much record about whatever reason. That's the reason why then in Theravada the nuns, Upasambhata was not there. One of my teachers actually, when I was in university, studying in university in Sri Lanka, of course he's the one who wanted to revive the nun ordination. Of course he always believed that it was because the monks' jealousy. Anyway, whatever. There are many debate over this kind of thing, Okay. And that's the reason why in the new movement, some nuns, especially in Taiwan in earlier time, they thought they could. This is my understanding. I don't represent anybody. My little understanding is that they thought that they could revive the Vinaya to them, because according to Chinese history record, how they get the nuns ordination. They also have the nuns in the early time in China, but they don't have a proper ordination there. In other words, they were not really fully as a nun. They might be always just like nowadays. So the nun, they have the nun lineage is stuff from Sri Lanka. So then they request the king of the Sri Lanka to send the nuns over to China to give them the Vinaya, so-called the Upasambhata, I mean the fully ordained ceremony. So that's how they start from Sri Lanka. And they would say, they were based on the argument, they said, actually we can revive the nun ordination to the Pali Buddhism, like a Theravada. Okay, that sounds maybe true, because you have the record, and there's some record, even though there's no record in Sri Lanka side, but at least there's a record in Chinese, right, in old day. But unfortunately, one other thing which people don't understand is the nuns now, they hold the Vinaya. It's not the Pali one. They hold the Vinaya is follow this school, Dhammadipa, but it's not Theravada. Okay? Then maybe people don't care. I mean, so what? But but that's maybe Chinese way of thinking, but not the Pali way of thinking. The Pali still always believe that we are the pure lineage. We don't want some other different lineage come in. Maybe indirectly you could say they don't know who you are. Of course you might be Sam, but if you're really taking from the Pali one, then why don't you retain the Pali one?
Or apply the monk one to the nuns.
Huh?
Apply the same set of monk ones to the nuns. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, those are the unsolved problem. Maybe one day you can solve the problem, and when you become a queen, when you become a queen, I guess. Okay. Anyway, thanks for coming for the class, and because I know that next week I will be in Malaysia and in China also to teach meditation and even classes. So then we will have a little break for yourself. So what you have to do is that definitely when you have time, until the next class coming, please, if you have time, finish all these, the Buddhist community, okay? So in other words, from page 91 to page 100 and 111, okay? And before we reach the next chapter, the Buddhist cosmos, okay? Yeah, okay. That's the interesting part. But this is more about a community. But I think it's very, very important, because I see that lots of people get confused about what the Buddhist community. Yeah, you might have a new approach of it, understanding, but then you still have to know what the origin of the Buddhist community is about and understand, how they understand. Okay, right, thank you for your coming. And then we do the transfer married by the other monk who sit there. who actually is American, and ordained as Americans in American as well. Yeah.
Okay. Sasanang, Chirang Rakantu Desanang, Chirang Rakantu Mang Paranti.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay.